There's nothing like being in the green room. It's the place to be, although there's no green, right? I got blue, she got red on, but don't worry about it. We are here right now behind the scenes. And I know you have her bio, which is pretty extensive because she's done a whole lot. So you can read the bio in your spare time. I'm not going to read a bio. That's not what I do. But I am going to ask Abigail if she'll take a few minutes and tell us the question we all like to know right up front. You're all here. Thanks for being in the green room. And here it is. Who is Abigail? And more importantly, Abigail, what are you up to these days?
Oh, thank you. Who am I? I don't know. I've been spending 60 years trying to figure that out, But I'll tell you, if I do one thing and I do it super well, it's problem solving and strategy. And that's what I grew up doing it. I have a degree in it. I've spent my entire career working on particularly brand strategy and business strategy, but problem solving. I'm a challenge junkie. Ask my kids, ask my husband, ask my friends. Like, I've got friends who will call me up and say, I don't need you to solve this problem. I just need you to listen. So I think it just comes to me intuitively. I can't turn it off. So that's who I am.
When folks hear the word brand strategy, just so we're all on the same page, you say I do brand strategy and I think marketing strategy. You said brand strategy, and what was the other one?
Business strategy, marketing strategy.
Okay, so can you take a moment, and for those folks listening, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs that are listening right now, Abigail, and they might be just curious, what is your definition of brand strategy? So we're all on the same page. And then we'll come back and we'll say, what's your definition of business strategy? Just so they have that. And don't worry, we're going to talk about, ladies, when we get started, and gentlemen, about what type of launches she's talking about. But let's see her definition of a brand strategy and a business strategy.
So a brand strategy is all the thinking components that go into creating an amazing brand. It's the simplest answer. So when you're asking questions, you're in a strategy phase, strategy, you're thinking about your business. And it's asking the questions, who am I? What do I do? Why do I do it? Who do I do it for? Why do they need it? Why are they willing to pay for it? Why are they looking for a solution now? Why do they want me versus somebody else? What's a message that I can create that's going to be compelling? So all of that is part of the strategy development, the brand strategy development for your business. Business strategy, on the other hand, is really, where are you now? Where do you want to go? And how do you plan on getting there? So for instance, if you could create your perfect day, what are you doing? Are you working with clients one-on-one? Are you working in groups? Are you doing retreats? Is it a brick and mortar business? Is it something you're doing online? You're asking all of those type of bigger vision questions, and you're looking at the money side of the business. If you want to make $10,000 a month, do you want to make $1,000 from 10 people, or do you want to make $10,000 from one person? Because that impacts some of your messaging and your position. So the business strategy will define the parameters around which you create your business, your non-negotiables, your vision, your mission, or your values, how you see yourself showing up within the context of running a business. And the brand strategy is, what do you want to show up as?
What do you want to show up as? Take a moment if you can. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into it. I know you want about to simply launch, how to really do it. Don't worry, we'll get to that. And we're going to have a great time. And we're going to ask her about how to do that. But I'm curious, as she's sitting here, and you may be curious as well, take a moment and tell us, why do you do what you do right now? I mean, you could do a lot of things right now. You could be relaxing. You could be hanging out. But why do you still take time like you're doing right now to speak to entrepreneurs, to depart your knowledge, and to do what you're doing right now? What's your big why?
My big why is I've spent, 30 years in this space, and I've spent about 10 years in the online space, really watching how coaches launch, really watch how coaches struggle, what they struggle with. I've sold from the back of the room for online coaches. I've sold, through live chat and appointments for some of the named coaches in the industry. And they all come up with the same problem. They're overdoing, they're over trying, they're over strategizing to some degree, they're over implementing. I just feel called to help them simplify the process, because I will be the first person to tell you, being an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, a dualpreneur, a partner like I am with Launches Made Simple, is not easy, but it is a lot more simple than most business owners make it.
Well, I can't wait, ladies and gentlemen. Look, I know you're out there. Carol, thanks for joining. Janice, you're in for a treat. Mark, I'm telling you right now, yes, you're going to finally learn how to launch, and it be simple. I mean, think about that. I can't wait. It seems like it's more and more complicated, but no. Abigail says there's an easier way to do it, and she has a process. So we're going to learn that. So we're going to get started out there. We got a show. We're going to get going in 5. Y'all know that's my favorite part. 4, I love it. 3, let's go. 2, 1. We'll be back in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there. And they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country, where we're on a mission. And our mission is to empower. Our mission is to inspire. And our mission really is to provide you, that's right, you, the entrepreneur, with all of those resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And I always like to share 3 visions I believe that we all have, by the way. I believe first, you have a vision for yourself, the way you want to live, the clothes you want to wear, maybe the organic food you want to eat. And it takes resources in order to purchase the revenue, or it takes revenue, I should say, in order to purchase the resources. The second vision I believe you have is you have a vision for your loved ones, the ones you care the very, very most about. I'm blessed. Mother dear is 74 years old. I get a chance to go hang out with Mother dear, and I take her to physical therapy. And all this time, she's learned Amazon really, really well. Now, how many of you know it takes someone's credit card to use your Amazon, by the way? I want to just put something in the card. You want me to give you your card? Mother dear might be watching. Mother, no, it's okay. It's okay. But some of you got loved ones. You want to send your kids to a school of your choice. You want to write a check for a cause you believe in. You want to take care of someone's health care insurance. It takes revenue to purchase those resources. And the third vision I believe you have is you have a vision for the people you are called to serve. Now, you don't have to be a believer. I happen to be a believer, and there's this Bible, and in the book, there's this guy named Noah. You just follow along with the story, whether you're a believer or not. Noah is on a mission. And before Noah gets started, God's giving him all the vision, give them all the experience and expertise. He's ready to get going. And imagine before Noah gets going, there's a knock at the door. He's like, what? What's going on? Noah, over here. Noah, sorry to report, my man, but there are no hammers in the house. No hammers? Okay, we'll be all right. I know, the second knock. It's always the second knock, isn't it? What's going on, Noah? I just want to report, too, there's no nails. Okay, I thought I'd let you know that while you're at it. No hammer, no nails. Rule number 1, I never panic. I don't panic. Third knocks, I do panic. What's going on? Noah, there's no wood and there's no people to put the boat together. Good luck on this mission. And maybe that's you. You're out there as an entrepreneur. You can't believe anymore. You're tired of believing. You can't work any harder. You're tired of that. You just need the revenue to purchase the resources. You got to do something successful. So this morning, this evening, this afternoon, no matter what time it is, no matter where you are in the world, you got the one and only Abigail. And she showed up and said, finally, you can launch. Finally, it can be successful. And she can make it simple. Abigail, how are you? What's going on? Welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show.
Thank you. Thank you, Chase. I'm glad to be here. I really am. I love your energy.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Look, let's just address the elephant in the room if we can. I mean, folks are here. They're like, okay, Shay, why did she pick this title? And number two, her company's kind of is right on line with that. So what was the thought process? And she picked this title for this moment in time. Tell us why.
You know, I actually did not come up with the name Launches Made Simple. My partner, Tammy Crea, did. And in the beginning, it took me a while because the industry talks about launch. And if you're familiar with the coaching industry and the digital marketing world, you know, there's the PLC, the pre-launch product launch formula, that includes product launch content that Jeff Walker started. And, you know, there's a couple of different models that are out there. But, you know, when you think about it, launching is simply introducing your business to the world. So when you rebrand, you launch again. When you go from offline to online, you launch. When you walk into a networking, again, offline or online, you are basically launching who you are to the community that you're presenting it to. So it's, you know, that big, exciting introduction to the people who desperately need and want to hire you. Launch simply means to start or to set in motion. And the concept of simple is, I've always said, you know, I think business owners make their business running and business building and business scaling much harder than it needs to be, because they're always looking around and they're thinking that everybody else has the secret formula to success. So they end up creating a ton of paths to nowhere. And because of that, they end up working harder than if they simply put the blinders on, ran the race in the horse that they were on the track that they were on, with the same destination in mind, and just put one foot and paw, whatever, you know, hoof in front of the other.
You know, that's so important. And what I like about it, you talk about making it simple. In the time of this ClickFunnels and MyFunnels and Entreport and Fusion, or whatever is out there, and all these other things to do things, you would think it's way more complicated. But you've been able to make the process really simple.
Right.
Take a moment, if you would, and there's a lot of challenges that entrepreneurs have today, and we're going to get into maybe 2 or 3 ways people can do to be successful in the launch. But what do you feel is like the biggest challenge holding most folks back? I mean, you get a chance to talk to folks all the time. You're in the trenches. You're still working with entrepreneurs. It's not the first time they've got to launch something. So if you're out there and you're watching right now, do me a favor. Whether you're a new business, very green, or very seasoned, hit the watch party button. Hit the share button. Now, I'm going to ask Abigail what's holding people back, but don't worry. I'm going to ask her how you can overcome it. You can pay this message forward right now with your community. Abigail's okay with that. She didn't ask for a Cash App before she showed up. No Zelly or anything. She said, I'm here to serve. So hit the watch party button. Hit the share button right now. And when that box pops up, just write the words. This can be simple. Just put, this can be simple. And that's the big bold claim that she makes. Do that right now. Pay it forward. Help another entrepreneur or business owner out there right now. All right, Abigail, it's a 2-part question. You can handle it, I'm sure, which is number 1, what's the biggest challenge you see that's holding people back from doing this stuff? And what's one idea that you would share with someone that's watching right now that could help them? And that's a loaded question, but kind of start the process right.
So the biggest thing that holds people back is themselves. Plain and simple. It is their fear. It is their pride. It is their shame. It is their worry that they're not good enough, or that they don't have enough, or that their work isn't perfect enough, or that they're not seasoned enough. And that's true regardless of who you are. You know, if you don't have butterflies in your stomach when you wake up every morning, kind of excited to take on the day, you're not challenging yourself. So the idea is that the thing that holds, and we see this with clients who are like, no, I'm ready. I know who I am. I'm ready to get going. And we're like, okay, are you ready to turn Facebook ads on? Because that means you're ready to have a strategy session. And they're like, oh, I'm not quite sure. So that fear, you know, isn't something that stops and leaves you ever. I still have fear when I get on a call. if I'm talking to somebody, or if I have to have a hard conversation with a client, or I'm having a prospective conversation with a prospective client, there's still that little tiny bit of fear that, am I going to say the right thing? Am I not going to say the right thing? Am I going to ask the right question? So it's a part of what fuels us and gives us energy. So what stops us is us. And the one piece of advice to answer the second part to that question that really allows you to move forward in imperfect action is being in a community that's going to say there is no such thing as failure unless you don't start. Because we either succeed or we learn. We either realize this is where the gap is, or we've got support to this next step that's going to be scary. I say to people, we've learned something new from every client that we've had at Launches Made Simple. Every client that we bring on, Tammy and I learn something new. Now, both of us have been, Tammy has been a solopreneur for 35 years. She has run a publishing business. She has run a graphic design business. Everything has been in marketing and marketing implementation. I spent my first 15 years in corporate, and then I became an entrepreneur 24 years ago. We make the mistakes. We know what fuels us. We know what, stops us. We know what monkeys are having the wrong conversations in our head. We know what family members to stay away from and not have the tough conversations. So the second part to that question is really what the one piece of advice I can give you is find a community, whether you're outsourcing to get things done for you, or whether you're in a membership group, or whether you build a community around, you do some remarkable things in the entrepreneurial world. Find a group of people who, when you say, boy, today was a hard day, somebody goes, tomorrow will be better.
Tomorrow will be better. For Eric Heilig is out there. What's going on, Eric Heilig? He's out there in Orlando, Florida, joining in. Daphne, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for being here, by the way. Crystal, you're really in for a treat. She gave one idea, which was make sure you're around the right support system. I'm going to ask her for another one. Don't worry. This is not her first rodeo. You're in for a treat. Look, if there's one thing that you want to make sure you get right is to make sure that you're able not only to launch, but to do it successfully. And I want you to think back where you were 3 months ago, 9 months ago, and all the things you said you were going to do. And some things you did, and some things you didn't. Well, you can get it right. Abigail's in the house. She can make it happen. Abigail, can you step back and give us another idea? For those folks that are out there, you can look right below the video right now. You can write those words, a successful network. Just put down a successful network. Just put that down. That's just one idea. What is the second idea that you would share with us, Abigail?
So the second idea that I would share is to commit to the fact that you are embarking on a process. It's a journey. There are going to be smooth roads. There are going to be bumpy roads. There's going to be snow. There's going to be detours. There's going to be ducks that decide to walk across the highway at the worst time because you're late for something. And just embrace the fact that it's going to be a journey. So if you have the right network and the right support, when you're on that journey, you don't have to know the whole step because you've got a guide. That guide is there to help show you those ropes. The guide is there to make sure the blinders are on. That guide is there to tell you, well, let's discuss this. Why do you want to do this instead of that? To give you that voice of reason. So the second best piece of advice is really to accept that it's a journey.
Accept that it's a journey. As we're listening, I'm thinking, and I might be the only one thinking this, wow, like she got this thing wired. Like she's made no mistakes along this journey. And I'll ask, she might say, Shay, I've never made any mistakes. But we'll ask the question, like, what's something you tried and it didn't work? And so now you learned this principle that you're applying right now. If you don't mind, because folks are like, man, she's like perfect. I mean, this is so cool. And then, so let's find out.
I would probably tell you that in my 24 years and in Tammy's 35, we have made almost every mistake anybody could possibly make. Sometimes more than once. We had we didn't learn anything the first time that we actually did it again a second time. I mean, we've made mistakes from trusting the wrong resources. We've made mistakes from believing that maybe we need to do more things than we need to do. I mean, at some point I remember saying, our company is, launch is made simple. We're not simplifying this. We're making it more complicated. So the thing that saves us a little bit is that we see when we're starting to make those mistakes. We don't get too far down that rabbit hole. Because again, we can see an old pattern that's coming up. We're very conscious about our client experience. To us, there is only one thing that's important, and that is to make sure that the client has an amazing experience working with us. And part of it is because a lot of people who choose to work with us have been wounded somewhere along the line. They've invested thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars from people who have promised them, the moon, the sun, and the stars, and haven't delivered. And part of it has been them, because I don't think there's any, coach out there that is deliberately just taking money. But for some reason, it wasn't a good fit and nothing happened. A lot of people, you had said that a lot of your audience are dualpreneurs. They're working full time during the day and they're building businesses at night. And I've been there. I kind of straddled that fence a little bit myself at one point. So it's really hard. And it's especially hard when you're doing it in the house and you've got little kids and, your husband's an entrepreneur too. So, I mean, we've struggled through so many of the issues, and we know that if we can put you on a path to success and we can get you to trust the process and we can get you to believe and trust in us and our problem solving and recommendations, you will see success.
You will see success. Talk about the power of collaboration. I mean, one of the things that I admire when we first were introduced is your willingness to collaborate, your willingness to work with other folks, and talk about the power of collaboration as it relates to having a successful launch, right? And I'm sure there's a good correlation between there. So for those folks that are watching out there, what's up, Kareem? Kareem. I keep always getting his name pronounced wrong. I'm so sorry. I'm doing the best I can. Just out there watching right now, and other folks, the power of collaboration and how that ties in to having successful launches.
So I'm a firm believer, you do what you do best, and you leave everything else to the experts who do what they do best. And I as I said, I do strategy very, very well. Tammy does implementation really, really well. But neither one of us, I mean, even though we've been in the sales space before, we've been in business development before, we brought on a sales trainer as one of the resources available to our launches clients. Then we realized that while great strategy is important and implementation is important and the ability to close at the end of the day, if you don't have an offer, what are you selling at the end of the day? And so we brought in a course creator. And then we brought in a tech person, because trust me, you never want to ask me a tech question. I couldn't answer it even if I tried, and I've just stopped trying because I know that's not my area of expertise. But Angela, who's a part of our team, that's like, she grooves on it. She loves it. And so the fact that we realized, and I think that's one of the reasons why Tammy and I just really enjoy being partners, but we also have seen success, is that we don't covet any part of the process. Our job is to find the best person who can deliver the best experience so that our clients are getting an end-to-end campaign launch.
End-to-end campaign launch. And that's so important, especially where we are today with so much going on. One more idea. You gave us 2 ideas already, which is a lot, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm going to say, if there's one more golden nugget that she could depart on you right now that can help you on this journey to have a successful launch. Now, it's simple, but you got to talk to her about being simple. But it's simple, but you will have a successful launch. And for some of you, that means that finally the product's out the door and it's in front of folks who need the services the most. You're solving a big problem.
Right.
For others of it, your team has finally come together, and yes, there's harmony, as you just talked about, collaboration. So what's one more idea? And for many of you, this is the missing piece. I mean, you've got brains, you miss this piece.
Yeah, it's if you've got the if you are willing to trust the process, you have the commitment, you're willing to risk success, you're going to create that process, you're going to systematize and automate wherever you can. And I don't mean that to be cold. I actually fought the concept of automation. I would be like, no, I'm going to handwrite the letter. I'm going to send out the individual email. And, you know, here's the thing, especially with the online world. In the old days, and I'm old enough to say in the old days, after 3 times, you were considered hounding people. You know, I called on one of my biggest clients for a year, 52 weeks, every single Wednesday. I called and I spoke to the secretary of the Women's Health Division at Wyeth Ayerst, a pharmaceutical client. And I said I wanted to try to get a meeting with Barbara Kriegsman, who was the director at the time. And every single Wednesday, the secretary was lovely. And she said she's, you know, not scheduling anything. 51 weeks go by. And I made my weekly call and she goes, oh, Abigail, she said, Barbara would like to schedule a meeting with you. And I was so dumbfounded and surprised that I literally said to her, I said, no, I think you have me confused with somebody else. Because I was expecting, you know, the same conversation that we had had 50 other weeks. And we did one of the best things that we had ever done in, you know, as a career high and as a launch. We actually created the first ever starter kit in the oral contraceptive market. I called on Hershey Foods for 4 years. My management at the ad agency I was at would say to me, would you please take David off your list? And I go, no, because I'm going to do work with David. And I just wore him down. And we ended up doing a very big Easter promotion, and we connected Hershey and Kodak together. So in those days, you did a lot of that because you could, you were working small chunks of business, people who you knew or prospects that you knew. But today we're in like the 8 billion people we have access to, 2.6 billion on Facebook, right? You can't do that one-on-one, no matter how hard you try. And you need a minimum, in some cases, of 20 touches for somebody to even, perk their ears up and go, wait a minute, I think Abigail, I think I know who she is. I really like what she said. We had a client who enrolled and, had a conversation with Tammy after the 38th email.
Whoa.
38. So if you're not systematizing all of that follow-up, which is still marketing, by the way, right? Marketing is one-way communication designed to get a prospect to move to the next step, which is two-way conversation and sales. But everything you're doing in that one-way communication is designed to help that prospect go through their own decision-making process to say yes. So the systematizing and the automating are critical because, number one, the systematizing is connecting all of the technologies. You need a scheduler. You need an autoresponder. You need a landing page. You need some type of opt-in, lead capture page. You need, in some cases, if you're selling a high-end offer and you're doing it through strategy session, you want an application of some kind. You may want a payment link because you may want them to pay something before they come on the call. You may want text mobile marketing. You may want to use bots as a part of your social media marketing. There are so many different things. So you have to look at the system that you have to look at the plan that you're creating, the funnel you're creating, and then what is the best system to manage those various steps, because there's no one total solution. Even though there are companies that profess to have a total solution, they are always weak at some point in the process. And the automation allows you to just continue to communicate over and over again, and to give them ways to communicate back with you. So that's the third piece of advice.
You know, I love how you tied in making sure there's a process, but more importantly, having the right system to go into the process. She didn't come here and say, well, let me peddle this one technology system and it solves the world. She says, no, what's your process and what's the strategy to make it happen? And I think that says so much for you. You know, we're at a point now in the segment, Abigail, based on one of our philosophies. And one of our philosophies as an organization is today is my January 1st. And for those folks that are out there, you know what I'm about to do. You can go ahead and look right below the video. You can go right below the video. You can write those words right now. Today is my January 1st. That's right. Today is my January 1st. For those folks that want to know what in the world, what in the LL Cool J is Shay talking about over there? Well, today is my January 1st. Let me frame the conversation. Represents any day. So we don't wait for the calendar to say January 1st. We create a January 1st every day that we make a decision, and that decision can be a change. So there's probably, 1,000 decisions throughout the day. And any one of those decisions could change the trajectory of your life. That's a January 1st moment. You make a decision that you're going to work out, or you're going to sit back and you're going to binge watch. That's a January 1st moment. You make a decision, you're going to have hamburgers and french fries, salt, pepper. Some of you got to have ketchup. My son's going to put hot sauce on theirs. Or you're going to go to the refrigerator and open it up, and inside there's some kale. That smells good, doesn't it? There's some Brussels sprouts. I know it gets better. There's some broccoli. That's a January 1st moment. So it's a do-over. It's a fresh start. It's my past. My past no longer equals my future. So my question to Abigail, she's listening over there, is when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what goes through your mind? What are you thinking?
I'm excited. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have a ritual where when I wake up in the morning, I always wake up early and I wake up happy. I can probably count on two hands the number of days in 6 years that I'm like dreading getting out of bed. Mm-hmm. And I always, but I'll get in there and I'm going to, today's a great day. And if for some reason it takes me a second because I got to say it again, I will say it again, but I won't get out of bed until I say today's a great day. So I feel like I have a January 1st, moment every morning when I get out of bed. And you're right. Everything we do is a decision. There are days that I decide because I can that I'm going to spend the day binge watching Hallmark. And my husband will come in and out and he'll look at me like I've got six heads. And there are days I'll say to him, you know what, I'm going to come to the gym with you. And he looks at me like, really? So I just believe that, nothing is fatal. Failure isn't fatal. Inaction can be fatal, but failure isn't fatal. And especially when it comes to business, it's so important to really be able to, look someone in the eyes as closely as possible and say, you can do this. Why not you? You have everything you need to move it forward, to pay it forward, to make it great. And I need to see you successful. That's that moment. I had a conversation with a client earlier today, and she said, I'm not sure I'm ready. I go, oh, you are so ready. You've been ready. You just didn't know it. But now you're ready. And she got so fired up, and I was so excited. I am so excited for what's going to happen because she has a call later on this week with someone else on our team to move to the next step. But we don't, I'm a little bit for pushing people into the pool, before they're 100% comfortable. But, let's face it, you've got to equip them with the right tools.
Yeah. So as folks are out there listening right now, what's up, Benavides? She's watching as well. They're excited, just like they were back on December 31st, okay? After a couple of drinks on the back of a napkin, they were writing down their New Year's resolutions, and we know how that landed for some folks, right? 9 months ago, they were going to do all this great stuff. With all the time that God's blessed you with right now in your house, you were going to work out, and you were going to write that book, and you were going to write that master class. And some of it didn't happen. You fell off the bandwagon. I'm guilty.
Right.
So you may have heard this before, Abigail, because I think there's truth inside of truisms that consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. And having said that, what do most people struggle with most? And my hand is raised real high, by the way, both hands right now. Consistency. So my question to you is, what do you share with your clients, and what's your secret in order to be consistent, in order to hashtag stay the course when you get going?
Yeah, it goes back to that network.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that we do is reason why we don't have courses, the reason why we work one-on-one with clients is to hold them accountable and to hold us accountable to, you know, maintaining that relationship and reminding them that they're with us for a reason. So the consistency can happen in the planning phase. It can happen in, you know, that network support phase. It can happen in a lot of places. And actually, you should overlap opportunities to make sure you're consistent. But it goes back to, and I think it comes easier for some than for others. You know, I mean, I literally made 51 weeks of phone calls on the same day to the same person. I made 4 years worth of phone calls because I just believed I could give them a solution that their current resources couldn't. And as it turns out, I was right. The starter kit might never have happened had we not gone in and presented the recommendation. Bringing Kodak and Hershey together might not have happened had we not gone in and made that recommendation. I don't think we're so much smarter or so much better than anybody else. It was just an idea we knew that if you gave us an opportunity to problem solve, we would problem solve. So I think if we could help harness that business owner that started a business for a reason, to remind them of why they started that business, somebody out there needs what they have and needs it delivered in the way that only they can deliver it.
Said so well. What's the ideal clients now for your firm? If you're taking on clients, let me frame the conversation. What's the ideal client that your firm looks to work with? And so if you're out there listening right now, you can tune in, okay?
Yeah.
You can hit the share button right now. You can hit the watch party button right now. If you did that earlier, do it again. Do it again. We're going to find out what type of clients that she works with. But more importantly, how can you stay in a conversation with her over and beyond the day? What's the best way to connect? So you listen with two ears. One ear is this for me? The other ear is, well, who do I know that this could serve? So please, Abigail, tell us the ideal client your firm looks to work with, and more importantly, how can folks best connect with your company to stay in the conversation over and beyond the time that we have right now?
Well, thank you. Yes. So our ideal client are coaches and service-based professionals. Mm-hmm. So we work best when somebody is creating an offer. It could be a one-on-one offer. It could be a group. It could be a retreat. It could be a membership. It could be off, VIP type of days, again, delivered online or offline. So they have a service that they're looking to get out to a wider audience, or they have a program that they're looking to get out to a wider audience. They want to charge a fair value. Most of our clients, even if we have an initial conversation with them and they may be in the $1,500 to $2,000 range, what we traditionally do is help them come up with a signature offer that's going to be somewhere between $3,000 and $7,000. $5,000's a good sweet spot. And what we do is we help them develop that offer so that when they get on a call, because we recommend doing strategy sessions versus long form sales pages, they have an opportunity to qualify and also, kind of pivot and shift where necessary, depending upon what that client actually needs. So our clients are traditionally somebody who's been successful offline, a mental health counselor who got a coaching certification and wants to go into online offers, again, whatever that looks like for them. But they're already seasoned and expert. Somebody who works in corporate and is looking to transition out of corporate, replace that salary, and realizes that they've got more time than money, and they want to go a faster route, because we do traditionally support the beginning of our funnel with paid ads. The other person that is a good market for us is somebody who is maybe in the six figures or trying to get to the six figures, and they're just struggling with the online. They haven't figured out ads. They haven't figured out a funnel. They don't have a follow-up system in place. There's inconsistencies and incongruencies throughout their marketing. And so they really would benefit from some strategy, reinforcing who their ideal avatar is. They may not be positioning themselves as unique, and they're looking to put in place a system that's going to help them get more qualified leads, so they can have better sales conversations. So that's our ideal market. Where you can find me, I'm kind of everywhere. I mean, the good news about a name like Abigail Tiefenthaler is there's only one of me. So if you go to LinkedIn, if you go to Instagram, if you go to Facebook, I'm in all those places. But easier yet is Launches Made Simple is the name of our company. We have a Launches Made Simple page. We have Leveraged Launch Group as a part of our page. We have a Launches Made Simple website. So there's a lot of ways to find me. And believe it or not, I have an email and a phone number on, I think, all of those social media platforms. So if you want to talk, pick up the phone.
Wow, they don't say that too often anymore. That's pretty huge. She says, if you're out there watching, and even if you get a hold of this long lost video file, right, and you're watching it, she said, pick up the phone. Go to the page, check her out, pick up the phone and have a conversation. And worst case scenario, it's a waste of your time. Best case scenario, it changes your business forever. I promise you, the worst case scenario will not happen. Abigail, we're moving into a segment now called Rapid Fire. And Rapid Fire is when we get to ask any question on our mind, and you can pass or you can answer it. And for those folks out there, I know it's my favorite segment. Of course, they're all my favorite segment, or we wouldn't do them. But the question I like to ask Abigail, I'm on the other side, is of all the mentors you've had in this journey of life, and you've had so many, what's one lesson that you've learned from any one of your mentors that you want to just pass on to us? And you watching, you all lean in, like all of y'all lean in, like lean into your phone right now, lean into your television, not really watching, your computer, and put your hands out like this if you're there, because she's about to share with you a lesson that she holds near and dear in her heart with you. So you get the benefit, although you may never meet her mentor. That's kind of cool. So Abigail, share what's one of the lessons you've learned that you're going to pass on to us.
So my biggest mentor was my father. I grew up with the beauty of having both an entrepreneurial mother and an entrepreneurial father. I was very, very lucky. But my father always said, say yes and find a way. And that's what I did. You know, I've done that pretty much my entire life. Say yes and find a way. So that's the biggest lesson, is say yes and find a way.
I like it. Simple and to the point. You can do this. You can do this. This is good news. You guys, you can do this. All right. As we're having this conversation right now, what is one of the affirmations that you tell yourself on a consistent basis? And it could be a quote, could be an affirmation, could be a belief that you use to drive you, to keep you going on a daily basis.
No one can feel bad. No one can make you feel bad without your permission. That's Eleanor Roosevelt. It's always been one of my favorite quotes. I also like another one, and I don't know who said this, but you can't see the label from inside the jar. Mm-hmm. And that's really designed to, help you realize that as brilliant as you may be, and I think everybody in the world has a zone of genius, we can only see what we can see. Mm-hmm. We are always going to be limited by some type of blind spot, and whether the blind spot is part of our belief system, or it's we just couldn't get to the other side of that rock, to see the vista. So I think it's really important to realize that that's why you bring on outside support, is because, you can't read the label from inside the jar.
What do you say to the person out there saying, this is great, I love how you talked about making sure you have the right systems in place, but technology is not my jam. I don't even like to talk about technology, because not that they don't know about it, but that's not their thing. And I guess the larger, bigger question is, how does Abigail expand her comfort zone? So for folks out there, whether it's technology, whether it's, oh gosh, here we go, I give another presentation, or whether it's I got to change the product pricing, whatever it is, it's outside your comfort zone. So let's find out what Abigail does, not only for herself, but she shares with her clients to help them expand their comfort zone.
That's a tough question. That's actually a pretty good one. So I just went on a 2-week trip with my husband and daughters, and we went to 12 national parks over the 2-week period in Arizona and Utah and Colorado and New Mexico. My comfort zone was definitely, I am not a hiker. I'm a New York City girl. I was, to me, roughing it is Holiday Inn sometimes. It's like I grew up in Central Park and on Fire Island and with beach. So I actually did a couple of hikes that were really outside of my comfort zone. So, I tell people, look, try something new, because the worst thing that's going to happen is you'll say you did it and you'll be done. You don't ever have to do it again. From a business perspective, I think we step out of our comfort zone every time we're willing to trust the next step without knowing what that next step is. A little bit of blind faith that takes us through. Again, with the right support system, we can let anybody guide us.
Love it. Second and last question as we come down the home stretch. What does Abigail do for fun? Like, when is she the happiest? Like, what does she do for fun when she's not out saving the world and launching and talking to clients and spending time doing what she's doing now?
Yeah, I'm traveling. I'm cooking, I'm spending time with my family and my friends. My husband and I enjoy renovating houses, which, we've always only ever lived in the house we've renovated. Like, we don't do flips and investments and things like that. But if I could do anything, it would be travel. And interestingly enough, in that 2-week trip that I took, I still saw an old classmate. I saw family friends. I saw a family member, and I saw a client. So to me, my mom was the hospitality queen growing up, and at her celebration when she passed 4.5 years ago, I was the one who, welcomed everybody and thanked them for being there. And I said, when you walked into my parents' house, you became family. And we do the same thing. So my clients are my family, my friends are my family. Even if you don't want to be my family, you kind of you have to leave, to be kicked out of my family. I mean, we accept a lot. We accept everyone. We're very inclusive. So, I was raised that, somebody comes into your house and you treat them like family. And so that's how we treat our clients. And to me, there's nothing better than making somebody feel welcomed, because that means we make them feel loved and we make them feel respected, and, their voice matters.
Good. So I feel like family now. You and I having
There
a
you
conversation like, hey, I feel loved. I feel like family. This is so great. Let me first say thanks so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We appreciate you. You have a heart to give. You have a heart to serve. From our very first conversation, which was not too long ago, you're the exact same way. And that's pretty cool. Rare, but pretty cool. And that's really, really cool. So I want to thank you so much for taking time. One thing I know about you is you can always make more money. You can always make more money, but you can't make more time. And so you're giving us the most precious gift, the most precious resource you have, which is your time. I want to turn it over to you for your final thoughts and comments. Do 2 things, if you would, in that. Sometimes people don't have time, but you said, yeah, I'll share a few thoughts to close out. Share how folks can best connect with you. Once again, I know they said you're all over, but tell them how they can connect with you. For you out there, you at home, or you watching, or maybe you're listening right now, and maybe you're on the podcast, maybe you're on Apple TV, maybe you're on Amazon Fire. I don't know. Wherever you are, do me a favor. Hit the share button. No, seriously.
Yes.
We believe in the giver's economy. The person outgives the competition, I promise you, will out-earn the competition. The person that outgives the competition will out-earn the competition. So please pay this message forward. Bless another entrepreneur, another single mom, a single dad, someone that's out there. Yeah, so do that right now. So I'm going to turn it over to you for your final thoughts. It's been an honor and a privilege, a treat and a treasure.
Yeah, again, I can be reached pretty much on all the social media channels and at Launches Made Simple. If for some reason you end up talking to Tammy, she's the smarter of the two of us. because especially if it's around technology and implementation, she's definitely smarter than I am. And, final thoughts are, I spoke with a guy earlier today who is bootstrapping his business, and we were having a collaboration call, and I gave him a piece of advice because he was doing something that I just thought, I was like, don't waste your money. But, if you're going to do it this way instead of that way. And I want business owners to succeed, because for every small business owner that succeeds, there's another one that they're going to pull up. It's just the mindset of the entrepreneur and the small business community. We need each other so badly. We need successes, and Tammy and I, we want to help you accomplish that, because we think we're good at what we do. We know we're good at what we do. We're confident we're good at what we do. But if for some reason, you're working with somebody else, ask them to give you 100% because you deserve it.
So
that's my final.
So powerful. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We appreciate it. For all of you out there right now, thank you. Thank you for watching. Without you, there is no show. For all of you, hit the share button. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. For those that thought about it but didn't do it, don't worry about it. This I know about every one of you watching right now. I know that only winners are watching. I know only champions are watching. I know already that you've got greatness inside you. And for you, the best is yet to come, because now you know how to launch and be successful. For you, today is your January 1st. You can have the right support system to make this happen. And for you just watching right now, I know the road looks smooth. The sun is shining right now. Put your glasses on, because the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. The best is still yet to come. With that being said, my name, for those folks that care, one who's doing all that yelling and screaming, my name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. Remember, time is long. Life, on the other hand, is very, very short. You got to live in the moment, and you got to make it count. God bless, and we wish you success. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. I'll see you later. Thanks a lot, Abigail. You're a rock star. Bye-bye, everyone. We out of here. Peace. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
Yeah.
Thank you. God bless.